trying to keep themselves alive because they're being targeted by the enemy tanks and the enemy DPS, and then they're also trying to make plays. It is a very difficult role to play. It is, right now, the lowest impact role in the game.
Every time that we lost, the blame went to support. You know, when we'd lose a game, I would hear from either DPS or tank, and then they would say, hey, you know, we didn't get enough heals. I think one of the games I had 18,000 or 18k heals, which to me seems like a lot.
So maybe they could allow supports to benefit from all three passives. Imagine that.
So a healer should go to the front of the line and have the most health on the team, like 850, 900. So that way people get punished for focusing healers.
So Stylosa made a video on how underwhelming the support role is. I'm gonna argue the opposite, because if you think the support role is unimpactful, I hate to say it, but you're just dog shit. Again, I care about this game, and balancing is the reason Overwatch 1 died, and recently the dev team put out a blog post saying how they understand that support is underwhelming to play and they're looking to buff it or change it in a way to where it could be more impactful, and I think that is just a stupid idea. So if you can, please like the video, because when it comes to support players, they are the biggest crybabies in the Overwatch community. They're the reason their role is so brain dead and easy, and yeah, let's get into it. My first reason is supports are not healers. I know you guys hear this a lot, but a lot of you still fail to understand that support players are not only meant to heal. So I am so sick of these Moira players. First of all, if you play Moira, you are instantly a dogshit support player. And later I'll explain why. But yeah, so many Moira players just look at their stats and they go, oh, I have high damage. Oh, I have 20k healing. And my team is just trash. This is exactly how I see Moira's healing. I'm going to take Dak Prescott. So imagine an NFL game. Imagine the Cowboys are losing in the first 3 quarters by a lot. You know, they get dominated. At that point, they realize they have no chance, so Dak Prescott comes out in the 4th quarter and starts taking chances downfield. So despite him being dog shit the first 3 quarters, if someone was to Google the stats, they would be like, oh, Dak Prescott had, you know, 250 yards, 2 touchdowns. The game wasn't on him. No, they are garbage time, useless stats. That is exactly how I see Moira's healing. So let's look into some examples on how support players can support their team that doesn't involve healing. Now I want to give a fair little warning. You're Overwatch. If you're watching this, please cover your ears before I say this next sentence, because you're probably going to come in your pants. But the way to be a good support player is to counter pick. Some of you support players can really only play 2 supports, and guess what? It's probably Mercy and Moira, which are the most dog shit supports in the game, and then wonder why your role is unimpactful. If your hit scan is getting dove on by a Doomfist or a Diva, especially a Diva, you can go Brig and position yourself to where if she gets dove on, if your Ashe or Widow gets dove on by the Diva, all you gotta do is bash back, and with your Inspire / whipping the Diva away out of her effective range, you can help kill the Diva while keeping your Ashe or Widow alive. Let me say, this video isn't just for support players, because some of you tank and DPS players also need to know that Lucio is not meant for heals, because this happens in every role where you look at your Lucio and look at his healing and be like, oh, Lucio, why do you have such low healing? Because guess what? He isn't fucking made for his healing. For example, say you have a Ryan and you're going Moira Mercy for him. That Ryan isn't being enabled. He cannot move forward, so he's probably standing at choke, taking a shit ton of pointless damage, and you are healing that shit ton of pointless damage. And at the end of the game, you're gonna look at your healing stat and wonder why you lost, because heal botting is the worst thing you can do as a support. If the enemy has a Roadhog, it should be game over. With Ana's sleep and Ana's nade, that hog should be completely useless. And guess what? Once you make their tank useless, which is the most impactful role in the game, the chances of winning go up like 99%. Now, funny enough, in Stylosa's video where he's bitching about support being underpowered, there's a perfect example of this. In that game, it is a hog v hog situation, and guess what? The enemy hog has an Ana to anti your hog, and he ends up dying when he gets hooked in. And guess what your hog has? Your hog has a brain dead Moira. You don't think that's gonna piss him off? And guess what? If you focus all these things, you know, Brig Peel, Lucio speed, Ana sleeping the hog, you are most likely not gonna have a lot of healing. But guess what? You are greatly impacting the game. I promise you that. And don't get me wrong, there are unwinnable games. There are games where you will go Ana, you will sleep the hog, but guess what? Your team will not follow up. There are games where you Lucio speed your team around, but they just feed and don't use it properly. There are games where you can cleanse your hog, heal for your hit scan as Brig against the Diva, but they won't do anything. You know, the hog isn't going to hit his hooks, the DPS aren't going to hit their shots, but I'm telling you, that is 20% of the time. A majority of the time, you can have great impact and turn the tide of the game and carry games yourself as support. So no, it's not always your dog shit team. That happens a minority of the time. A majority of the time, if you hit your sleeps, if you peel successfully as break, if you successfully speed your team around and use your beats properly, you have great impact and win 10 times more games. I promise you that. Oh, well, Raider, surely you don't expect me to play every support in the game. That's asking way too much. I just want to play the heroes I want. It's so funny if support players think like this, because support players are the bitchiest when it comes to asking their team to switch. Say you have a DPS player who doesn't play hit scan, and you expect that DPS player who doesn't play hit scan to kill the Pharah, the pocketed Pharah, without a pocket. And then at the end of the game, your dumbass wonders why it was a DPS diff. Now next, let's talk about survivability. If you are dying with the current balance of the game on support more than 10 times a game, you are dog shit. Your positioning is dog shit. You are brain dead. There's no reason with these support abilities and the new support role passive that you should be dying more than 10 times a game. Trust me, bro, you dumbass support players who die a lot, in your next game, solely look at your death count. Keep it as low as you can, and I promise you, you'll win 10 times more games. Now, obviously, there's going to be some outliers where you're getting dove on, and yes, your team isn't helping you. But again, that's like the dog shit teammates. That isn't going to happen a majority of the time. A majority of the time, you can control your death counter, and if it's high, it is you. You are dog shit. It is your positioning. It's not the support role. And let me tell you this, Moira doesn't have high survivability. Kiriko and Bap probably have the best survivability. So I'm tired of you brain dead Mercy one trick switching to Moira every time you're dying too much because you think she has high survivability. Yes, I understand that is the only other character that your Mercy brain can handle playing, but let me explain why Moira is such a dog shit pick. And before you Mercy players get butthurt, let me explain something. Mercy is my second most played hero. If you count up all the hours on my alt accounts, I probably have about 300-400 hours on Mercy. So if anyone has the right to talk shit about Mercy players and make fun of Mercy one tricks, it is me. Alright, let's showcase how truly dog shit Moira is. Alright, imagine yourself in this situation. You're playing Moira and you're healing your team, la da 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 da, and then a monkey jumps on you. You fade away. Now your Ryan is left for dead because you have to be shoving your hand up his ass to be healing them. Exhibit B. Once again, a monkey dives on your team because again, you have to be in the fight to be healing your team because of her close range healing. The monkey dives on you guys. You fade out. Now that you don't have fade, you are as vulnerable as a Zenyatta.
My flankers, my DPS flankers, were getting frustrated in some of the games, especially the ones that we lost. They would flank and get out of position, or what I thought was out of position. And, they would end up somewhere that I just didn't have a good spot to heal.
Oh, wow. God forbid a flanker try to do his job. God forbid a Winston trying to clear high ground. Fuck all that noise. If you want healing, your ass better come to me. That is why Moira is such a shit pick, because now you are greatly impacting where your team can play. This is one of my biggest pet peeves, because when I'm on support and my tank locks Winston or Diva and my other support instantly locks Moira, either my tank has to play a certain way to where they can't, dive high grounds. They can't do what they need to do, or I go on it, and guess what? Now we're playing double main healer, which is absolutely shit considering the amount of utility the other supports have like Kiriko. And this isn't just for Moira players, this is for Bat players too, especially in GM when these fatherless children buy mouse and keyboards, so the only support they play is BAP, and they just DPS BAP, and that is the reason they get high SR. And obviously their ego isn't going to switch, because once they play any other support other than BAP, they're fucking useless because they have Zim brain. The only thing they know how to do is go BAP and mouse and keyboard on console with aim assist because they weren't loved as a child.
Second thing is if I find that we need more DPS on the team, so if my DPS players aren't putting out the DPS, or we're falling short, we're not getting the eliminations, I will switch to Moira at that point, and I will start using her for DPS.
The only reason you brain-dead Moira players have high damage stats is because you throw pointless damage orbs. I guess what probably feeds the other supports their ult. Yeah, I don't think I need to go into greater detail on why Moira is a shit fucking hero. So yeah, that is all I have for today. Sorry if I offended your bitch ass, but I care more about the balance of the game than I do about your feelings. Because guess what? Balance killed Overwatch 1, and I feel like if they buff supports with how impactful and strong supports already are, then that'll be just unhealthy for the game if you're gonna cater to these brain-dead gold support players who are complaining about, how they're dying too much or how their role is unimpactful. So I really hope the blog post wasn't anything big when they said they're looking to, make support more impactful. If support is unimpactful, you are just dog shit. So yeah, that is gonna end it for today. So yeah, if you enjoyed this video, please hit the like button, because I can already see the amount of dislikes it's gonna get from the crybaby support players who refuse to admit that they're dog shit. And yeah, Peace, motherfuckers.
Be resistant to, and I think all of these would be good, but I think we've got it wrong. So a healer should go to the front of the line and have the most health on the team. Imagine that, right? Like 850, 900. So that way people get punished for focusing healers.
Bitch, shut the fuck up. Get the fuck out of here.